going live on this day before Christmas Eve. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I keep forgetting to remove this little comment on the stars. We're heading into the new year, guys, and it's a pretty exciting time, always has been. And it also can create some questions, for us and how we move into the new year. I posted the other day, I think it was yesterday, and then it got sent out via email today as well, a video that I did when I was doing Phantom those many years ago, and it's entitled What If? And if you haven't had a chance to see it, I'm actually going to grab a link to it and put it in the chat here. So I encourage you to do so. It's a question that I have asked myself multiple times. Sorry, my microphone was away, so I don't know if you can hear me. It's a question that I've asked myself multiple times in life, and I'm just grabbing this video. The what if question, like what if you could have everything you've always wanted? What is the thing that is stopping you? It may autoplay, so if it does, there it goes, it autoplays. So I'm going to grab it, the link, and I'm going to share it in our StreamYard thing here. So I'm on StreamYard, guys. For those of you who don't know StreamYard, it's a third-party app. It's pretty cool. I like it because you can stream to multiple platforms. But if you're on Facebook, you have to go there in order for me to see you when you comment, which I hope you do. I hope you give a comment or two. Tell me how you're doing. Oh, look who's here. Leslie's here. Happy New Year to your family and all in this group. Thank you. Shirley's here. Rian is here. And there's that link. You can go to that link and see the video. But I put it out there because we're at a time, a crossroads, right? We always look at the new year as a crossroads, as a new beginning. And the what if question is something that I've always asked myself. What if this hadn't happened? Or what if this had happened in my life? Or what if I had made this choice or that choice? Or what if this person did this? What if that person did this? What if I had more money? What if I had, all of those things? What if I had gone to this school? What if I had this agent? And there are constant questions that surface for me. They did, and they still do. Like, what if I do this? What if I go there? And the ultimate thing for me was, well, what is my goal and what is my dream? And I know that other people had that question. They would ask themselves, what if? What if? What if? And it's also, what about the possibilities? What if I could have everything I've wanted? What if I could attain my dreams? What if I could marry the person that I should be married to? What if I could have this spectacular life? And you're putting your dreams out there. And I know that other people have that. So I started going around and I started asking the question. And the question is, do you have a dream? And 100% of the people said yes. I asked thousands of people this. I don't have the exact number, but it was thousands of people, over 1,000. Let me say that. I don't want to say thousands because I want to be as close to accurate as possible as I can be. And everybody said yes, 100%. And then I said, have you achieved it? And almost everybody said no. Almost every person I asked said no. And even those who said, yeah, I've achieved it, but there's still something else. I asked them why. And the number one answer, well, the common denominator, when I boiled it all down, was fear, was doubt. I thought it was going to be money. I thought it was going to be opportunity. Fear. Can I do it? What happens if? What if I don't succeed? Somebody's going to tell me not to. What if people look at me and think, oh, that's silly? It's fear. It's the fear of not achieving it, or of not achieving it and then have people judge you for that, or the fear of somebody judging you even for going for it. And here's the kicker. the fear of actually achieving what you set out to achieve. And that's why I created that video. And it's to the core of my purpose, the core of who I am, to um, help people know that they can achieve what they want to achieve. There's always struggles. There's always obstacles. It's a reality. There's always unseen things that you're going to come across, and challenges to meet and problems to solve. But if we look at them with a sense of, well, why can't I? What if I can? What if I can? What if I can? I can. I can. So it's almost removing the what if and replacing it, or just removing it. Like, what if I can? What if I could? What if I can? Just remove the what if and say, I can. And I wanted to share that as we went into the new year, because the New Year's resolution thing has always been interesting to me. I'm like, well, why do we have to wait to New Year's? Why can't we just take the action now on a daily basis to push forward? Why can't we put things in place? Why can't we remove those obstacles? In the book, The Art of Survival Guide, I'm writing another one, by the way, and not on artists, it's on something else, which I'll share with you later. But I talk about removing the aspects of your life or the things around you that are stopping you, because it's up to you. Sometimes there are our own considerations, and sometimes they're the viewpoints of others. Can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people about, well, so-and-so doesn't feel that I should go into this field, or my parents feel, or my spouse feels, or my brother, my sister, my friends. And we stop ourselves because of somebody else's opinion of who we are. Somebody else's opinion of who we are, not your own. How powerful are you? Incredibly powerful. You have lived your life to this point. You have gone through adversity. You have pushed through obstacles and achieved great heights in your own life. It's pretty wild, pretty awesome. And you should congratulate yourself for the things that you have done. And I encourage you to maybe even to write down all the great things that you have accomplished in your life. And then all the great things, and not just accomplished like I did this, or I created this, or I had this job, but I helped so-and-so. I helped person A do this. I did this. I helped this charity. I did this. I did that. Because when you look at that, you see what the possibilities are, because those are things that you've actually achieved. So if you've achieved those, why can't you achieve the other things that are in your dreams and your goals and your mind? You can. But we've got to separate out. So this New Year's resolution thing about, now I'm going to make the resolution to do X. Great. It's a good incentive. Do it every day. Every day you have to remind yourself that it's a new day to keep moving, a new day to freaking get up and keep moving, to invent and create. That is the New Year's resolution that I do. I try to every day to create. That's why I made those shirts, create something. Action creates traction. All of those things are just to remind us that we actually have the ability and the scope to actually go out and do and achieve the things that we've always wanted to do. You know, the great motivators live in motivation. They live with that. If you were surrounded by it every day, I don't know, would you get tired of it? Maybe. But you see people who are raised around negativity, and you see people who are raised around positivity, and it's a very different environment. And even those who are raised around negativity, or let me put it this way. No, that's the way to put it. Negativity can come out of that experience. You see people that are born in poverty who become very successful, not only materialistically, but spiritually and emotionally, and you know, I mean, they're able to rise up out of the circumstances in which they find themselves. And if they can, so can you. And I would almost bet that you have taken yourself out of a situation that was not optimum for you and changed your basis of operation and go, you know, I don't want to be there. And that's the hardest part of this. It's the hardest part of the resolution. It's the hardest part of the what if. Well, what if I went for this and so doesn't think it's a good idea, or they chastise me for it, or they laugh at me? Are you willing to give up your dream because of someone else's opinion of what you're doing? Of someone else's opinion of your goal, of your dream, of your purpose? Are you? And that's where the communication comes in. The communication to be able to sit down with them and say, hey, look, this is my purpose. This is my goal. This is my dream right now. And this is why it's important to me. And lay out the things on why it's important to me. I feel this way and I want to achieve this. And this is the benefit it's going to have. And if you care for me the way I know that you do, I want you to support me in this endeavor because it's important to me. And if they do anything else but go, wow, okay, you know what? I was saying this because I thought this, but now I see how important it is to you. And I got you back. Or something like that. Then you need to think twice about having that person around you. Well, that's the thing. Here, Susan says, she said, that's her whole problem. And what if you're not supported? Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, what kind of support are you looking for? You need to have conversations with people. If I'm going for my goal, if I want to create a business and I've done the work and I've made the plans and I've looked at it and I go, you know what, I'm going to do this. It's my decision. It's my choice to move forward. If some random person comes to me and says, that's not a good idea, I'm like, well, it's not your idea. It's my idea, right? It's your baby. It's your goal. That's the point, is surrounding yourself with people who have that mindset, the winning mindset, the supportive mindset. That's important. If you're not supported, then find those who support you, because I guarantee you they're out there. It's very kind, Leslie. Thank you so much. I'm just sharing what I've shared, sharing what I've learned. You know, I've studied a lot of different philosophies, and I've taken a lot from some of the great writers of our time, and the great Buddha, and the writings of Siddhartha and all those things. Great philosophers, all philosophers. And ultimately you have to make them yours. Right? I was talking to somebody the other day, and she was saying that so many voices come in. Like, this person says this person says that, the other person says this, do this, giving advice. And at the end of the day, you are your own arbiter. You are the captain of your ship. You're steering it. Somebody can tell you to go left, but if you turn left and you run into a rock, it's you turning left. It's not them. So be your own counsel. Susan says, yes, you have to have faith in your goal and people support you. The problem is, what if? What if what? That's what I want to know. What if what, Susan? So, and this is where, like for me, I love watching you guys and seeing what you're saying, because then I learn, right? If you tell me what if, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I haven't thought about that. What is the problem? What if what? What if you could actually find people to support you? What if, how about this? You could do it on your own. As a performer, there's nobody when I go in, well, this is what she says, you're not supported. So explain to me what you mean. Like, do you have a goal where you are saying, I want to go after this? Or is it financial support? You don't have somebody supporting you financially? I'll explain to you as a performer, right? And see if this makes sense. When I started out in the industry, and even to this day, when I walk out on stage to perform, either it's an acting piece or a singing piece or even speaking, it's just me. There might be a piano player there, or an orchestra, or no one. when I go into an audition, when I would go into auditions early on, walk into a room and it's sometimes 30 people. 30 people. And me. There's nobody that's going to perform for me. There's nobody that's going to sing for me. There's nobody that walked me into that room. There's nobody that walked me into that room the day before to sign up on an audition sheet. This is when I was first starting out, with 500 other people to audition for one role, which none of us may or may not get. It was up to me. It's up to the individual. And you have to figure out a way, and even stuff like this, joining groups like this, there's support here, right? So in many ways, you're not alone at all. I mean, you have the people in this group, you have the people that are here. There are tons of places you can go, but I'm encouraging you to find that strength within yourself, right? Because ultimately it is you. Ultimately, it is us moving forward. You can always knock on the door if you're, thirsty or hungry and you don't have any. Hey, listen, I ran out of water. Can I get a glass of water? Explain this to me, Susan. You can't make a decision by yourself. Tell me so I understand a situation where you can't make a decision on your own, so I can better understand that. Rihanna says this: what if you let down the people who support you? That's my biggest fear, that I'll take too long to progress. The belief in me will be in vain. It's a really interesting point. This is, again, where you need to believe in yourself, right? You have to believe in yourself. So if the people that support you are supporting you, if they're the right people, how can you let them down? You're on the right path by making choices. Sometimes you'll go down the path and you realize, well, wait a minute, I went down the wrong road. It's like you have a choice of 3 or 4 roads to get someplace. You go like, well, I've never been here before. I'm going to take the road to the left, and you realize, well, that's a dead end. Well, at least you're on a path that you can go, okay, I've tried that. I'm going to back up. I'm going to go around, and I'm going to go down the other lane, right? And you keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. The people around me that I've chosen to surround myself with, I will remove people from my life that are not supportive. I don't cut them out, goodbye, see you later, unless they're, I have removed people from my life like that it's like a cancer growing, and it just keeps getting, the people who are always negative and always negative and always negative, I have a tendency to just move them away. For me, because that's how I like to keep going. But the people that you surround yourself with that are supportive, they will support you. Exactly. Look at what she just says. I've had to change paths a number of times, but I always keep trying. You just keep going. I shared the story of the great Faith Prince, the actress Faith Prince. We were doing a benefit somewhere, some appearance years ago. I think it was 2001, something like that. And she said to me, you just keep walking. You're in a forest, right? You find yourself in a dark forest. If you stop, you're never going to get out. But if you keep walking, eventually you'll come out the other side. Eventually, in a metaphorical sense, just keep going. Just keep going. Susan says, I will think about all you've said, and I will be more control of what my goals are for now. Baby steps, very important. Yeah. I mean, this is my question for you. If you have this, when you said, but certain situations you can't make a decision by yourself. If you have an example of that might help us to go, oh, okay, let me know. Put it in there, and we can figure that out. Here's an example, maybe, of something. Let's, in my marriage and my family, that we wear different hats, right? Each of us in our family wears different hats, but we also wear the hat of a family, like a hat, like a conductor, right? Or a policeman or a fireman. They wear specific hats that identify them as what they do or what they are or what their jobs are. So in a family, we have different roles and different, different jobs, so to speak. But we also have the job as a family as a whole. So there are decisions that we make together. and we decide as a unit what we're going to do. Sometimes we don't agree. A lot of times we don't agree. One kid wants to go one place, another kid wants to go one place. I want to go one place. My wife wants to go someplace. Okay, how do we figure out what works? But the core is that we're supportive of each other. That's a situation where, theoretically, it's not that I can't make a decision by myself. I'm choosing not to because I'm including those individuals in the process that I'm doing. Ultimately, if I'm in a business meeting, like I have a business that I'm starting. So this is a great example. Family decision, my husband and I don't agree and can't seem to find a place to go with it. So that's what I was thinking. Okay. So for us, for example, what'll happen is we'll lay out the pros and cons. It's a process. It's a communication process. And just going, I want to do this and I'm going to go this way. And the other person goes, well, I want to go this way. I disagree with you. Figure out why. Okay. Why is it important to you? Why is it important to you that we do, or, we're making this decision? Why do you feel your decision is important? And you lay out those things, actually put them down, write them down so that they're clear. And then the other person goes, okay, I get that. Acknowledge what they're saying. Because if you don't acknowledge what they're saying, it's like they're talking to a brick wall. They're trying to explain to you something. And if you don't acknowledge it, how do they know that you've heard it? How do they know that you actually listened? Acknowledge it. Okay, wow. And really listen. I get it. I understand that you want X, Y, and Z. And I understand that you feel that that's going to really help us. I get it. Here are my points. And you list down your points. I have this, I have this, I have this. And then find a common ground. Because the common ground for me in a relationship is we want the relationship to succeed. In a marriage, what's the common ground? You want to be together. You want to succeed. So that's a common ground. Okay, good. We both agree that we want to succeed as a unit, or as a family unit, as a couple, as a business partners. That's a common ground. Let's now look at how your points and my points can come together and make that a reality. Right? So it's a tough scenario, but communication is the way to go. It's the way to go. I have a new business I'm starting with a couple of friends. And I was on with another buddy of mine, brilliant dude. And I had a question. He goes, dude, just communicate. Just communicate. Actually say exactly what you're thinking and feeling. It's the truth. And if that person sometimes would be like, oh, I can't believe that. You go, okay, I get it. But the only way to get through something is to communicate through it to me. And that's how you'll find the support. Find a common ground. Usually people will. Usually. Everybody's pretty good in the world. There are a few bad eggs that spoil the bunch. You put a rotten grape in a whole bunch with other cool grapes and eventually it's going to spread. So you pull it out. Let's see. I'm going to share this with Rihanna says. What if you explain your points, but the other person doesn't want to understand? That happened to me and my family, and eventually I had to stop explaining and make a choice of my own. Tough thing. So the question I would then ask is, why don't you want to understand? What is it that, two things. Again, this is just my opinion, right? I would always look at number one, what am I responsible for? First, am I communicating properly? Am I relaying the idea in such a way that it makes sense to someone? And I would make sure of that. I would explain, here's an example. Is what I'm talking about right now making sense to everybody? Is there anyone that doesn't understand the concept of what I'm speaking about? And if somebody goes, I don't understand, then I'm going to go, okay, where did you last understand what I was talking about? Or where are you confused? And I'd go back and clarify it. Because if there is a point where the person or people you're communicating to do not understand, they're not going to go past that. They're going to be stuck at that point. So anything you say after that, they're going to lose it, meaning that they're going to miss it. It's like reading through a book. You know, do you guys ever read a book and you're like, you're reading and reading and reading, and you read a chapter or a paragraph and you're like, wait a minute, I got to go back and reread that because you forgot. You couldn't remember what the paragraph said. And you do it again and again and again. Does that ever happen to anybody? Usually it's because somewhere before that, there was something you didn't understand. And so you zoned out. So number one, I would make sure that what I am communicating is being understood. And that comes with the communication cycle that I talk about a lot. The relay of communication from one point to another and the receipt of that communication, right? You have one terminal speaking to another terminal. This terminal sends communication over here. It's received and they go, oh, wow, I get it. And they tell you that they understand it. So an example would be, I see a red car. Hey, Bob. This is Bob. This is Sue. Sue says, hey, Bob, do you see that red car? And Bob goes, oh, yes, I see the red car. That's the cycle of communication. It's simple. But what if Sue goes, hey, Bob, do you see that red car? And Bob either doesn't respond at all or goes, airplane. Obviously, there's something that's broken in that communication cycle. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty powerful. So again, step one, Rihanna, I would say, I would always make sure that what I'm doing is understood by the other person or people. And then if they go, no, I understand it, then I would say, what aren't you, when you say you don't want to understand, why is it that you don't want to understand? I would try to ascertain the basic reason. Sometimes people they put up a wall. They have a no best attitude. But ultimately, you're in control of you. Thank you, Leslie. That's very, very kind. It's very kind. Ultimately, you're in charge of you. What if you could have everything you've always wanted? That's why I put that video out, because we're starting this new year. Just a couple days away. Here's the funny part. What is time? Time is a made up concept. Really. I mean, we got watches, we got phones with clocks on them. If we didn't have it, you just see the sun set. We make up time. The reason we see time is because things are born or created and they decay and they go away. That's the cycle of time. But everything does that cycle at a different rate. So whose time is right? Like the lifespan of a bee versus the lifespan of a tortoise. Do you see? So it's an interesting thing. Yeah. I get this. Rihanna says, communication has been a lifetime struggle for me. I have the hardest time making myself understood. No matter how hard I try, it gets discouraging, which is why I usually keep quiet. I understand that. I get it. A lot of people have that problem. I shouldn't say problem. I don't want to call it a problem. A lot of people struggle with that. And so what I do as a step, as an exercise, is I'll write down what I want to say. If I'm having to communicate something important, I'll write down, or used to write down, what I have to say, and then I'd look at it and go, does that make sense? And if it doesn't, I'll correct it, till it's basically what I want. And now I have my bullet points. There's an old adage, think before you speak, right? If you're angry, things are going to come out of your mouth differently than when you're happy. If you're confused, if you're sad, if you're frustrated, if you're scared, things come out differently. So I take my time and I think about it. And I think, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it? And I've gotten to a point where partially it's because I've been performing my whole life and I'm very comfortable in front of a camera or on stage or talking to people. It wasn't always that way. I was incredibly and massively shy. incredibly shy. Sit in the corner, big party, be like, hey, how's it going? Sometimes people will take that as being aloof or egotistical. It wasn't. Shy, massively shy. And when, like I'm 6'4", I was almost 6'4" as a freshman in high school, right? And kind of shy. So you can imagine, like, if I'm not a small dude, right? So like at parties or at like dances or whatever, and I'd be standing over in the corner with maybe one of my friends. People look at me like, oh, look at him sitting over there. I think he's better than everybody else. Mm-mm. Terrified and shy. Terrified. For all the same reasons everybody else did. What are they going to think? I had a huge gap between my teeth. Huge gap between my teeth. People, buck teeth and, and, it was a typical upbringing in that sense. Maybe not typical, but even when I got to college, I don't drink alcohol. I mean, I have, but it's not my thing. Like, I don't, I haven't had a glass of alcohol in, my God, like 2001, maybe. The night that Jane Eyre closed, or the day after Jane Eyre closed, my wife and I went out to dinner, and I had a little bit of wine. My now wife, we were dating at the time. So, all these guys going to the clubs and the bars, and, I'm just sitting there. And I'll never forget it. I was at a bar with some of the guys that I went to school with, and I don't drink. And it's across the street from the campus, and I'm just standing there in the corner, right? Just standing there. And these two big drunk dudes look at me and go, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, "What? What are you looking at?" I'm like, "Nothing." "What are you saying? We're nothing?" I mean, you can see where it's going, right? And I'm going, "No, guys, I'm just hanging out, man." What are you looking at? And big, because I'm tall, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. So I leave. It's a weird anomaly. It would happen. I don't know. So me standing in the corner was only because I was shy. It was only because I was introverted. So I understand the communication and having an issue with communicating and speaking. Speaking publicly is still one of the biggest fears that people have. It still is, to this day. So it's more common than you would think. So the whole purpose of this, as we go into 2023, is to say to yourself, what if? What if I could actually do it? What if I could actually make those things that I've wanted become a reality? Because you can. You can absolutely do it. Put a plan in place. Remove the what if and say I can. And start writing down those goals and take an action every day toward doing it. One simple step every day toward doing it. Even if it's writing your goal down again, writing your goal down again, writing your goal down again. Every day. Every day. And that's an action toward your goal. So take a look at that video. I made it a little while ago, and my hair was short. I had no beard. But it reminded me today, as I was thinking about, or yesterday when I went through it, I was like, oh wow, I remember that. And people seem to like it. So I hope you do. All right, my friends, I do not know that I will be on tomorrow. I have some things I have to do for the festivities of New Year's, and I will be at a little gathering with some close friends. But I wish you the best. Maybe I will, who knows? But I wish you the best, happiest, and healthiest New Year, and go make your dreams a reality. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful one, guys. Share this stream out to people who you think may enjoy it, may want to hear it, and have a great one. Have a great weekend, and Happy New Year to everybody.